All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, anyone who is watching today, either on Facebook's live social media channels of Facebook or YouTube, sorry, Sportable's live social media channels of Facebook or YouTube, or those who are watching the recording later. Sportable is really happy to welcome Frank Vance from Chesterfield County. Chesterfield County offers a really amazing mobility services resource that provides low cost door-to-door trips for individuals in the county. And so Frank is here to share more information with us today about mobility services in the county and how to access that unique resource. So Frank, I'll let you take it away. Thanks to anyone who joins us. And lastly, Frank, we'll have some time for questions at the end. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching, and we're happy to get to those questions. So, all right, Frank, take it away.
Hi, like she said, I'm Frank Vance with Chesterfield County's Mobility Services. We're part of the Community Engagement and Resources Department. Next slide, please. Um, to use this service, you do have to register in the program, but now we have a couple different options. First, you can either go online to chesterfield.gov/mobility services and scroll down till you get to the registration part and click on the link, and it'll take you to the form. Put your information in the boxes. Now it will cue you at a couple of points to upload supporting documentation, and by that I mean first thing it'll be something to verify your name and address as you've entered it on the form. Photo ID, voter card, utility bill, something like that, something official. And then as you scroll down, as you go through the form, you'll get to the part about the three different categories. You choose one of those, and when you choose the one that applies to you, again, it will ask you to upload whatever supporting documentation you have. But those categories are 60 and older, have a disability, or live in a low-income household. And for the low-income household, we've basically taken the federal poverty level and doubled it, so we cover a larger population of the county. Um, but again, whichever one applies, we do require some sort of supporting documentation. Now, for a person over 60, if they've got a valid state ID or driver's license that the address is current on, that's all they would need to make a copy of, because it covers the age verification and the address verification. Um, we give examples in the on the form of supporting documentation. Now, if you're not able to do this online, you simply contact our office, call the number on the screen there, 804-706-2796, and we can mail you a paper form that you see on the right here. And basically, it's the same thing. You fill in the top and sign it. And then it'll require you in Section A to provide something to verify your name and address. And then again, one of those three categories of 60 and over, disabled, or low income. And a couple more questions if you have mobility issues, if you use a cane, a stroll, walker, or wheelchair. And that helps us provide information to our vendors. So when you call to schedule your ride, they already when they pull your name up, they already will know if you need a wheelchair van or not. But anyway, next slide, please. Okay, what we do same day, door to door, point to point service. We have choice of two vendors, and those are a company called Ride Round Trip, and the other is called Userve. Weird name, but uh, they do good work. Both of these companies provide excellent service. When you make your reservation, you have to use a debit or credit card. The cost is $6 for each one-way trip, so $6 to go to the appointment, another $6 to come back. Generally, you're not charged that $6 until the driver indicates on their device that they've made the pickup. Now, one thing this is a fairly recent development. Both companies will also accept prepaid Visa and prepaid American Express cards. When you call, you just let them know that you're using a prepaid card, and they can take care of you just if you had a regular credit card. Uh, for those that may not have a bank account or a credit card. Um, Service hours Monday through Friday, 5:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. and Saturday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's Saturday and Sunday, excuse me. Um, that also is a recent development that we've been able to offer in the past about 6 months. We've been able to offer that, so uh, we've been excited about that. Next slide, please. Now, where we go. We have a rather large service area. You can see the colored sections on the map here. The big green area in the middle is Chesterfield County. If you're traveling in Chesterfield County, we can take you anywhere in the county for any reason, for any purpose. Going to the mall, going to the movies, going grocery shopping, going visit family and friends. As long as it's during the days and hours that we operate, we can take you anywhere in the county for any purpose. Outside the county, in the other colored spots around the county there, um, we can only take you to and from work, to and from medical appointments. And as you can see, that still covers quite a large area. Um, but yeah, if you're traveling in Chesterfield County, anywhere in the county, any reason, any purpose. And again, this is door to door, point to point. They pick you up and take you directly to where you're going. No riding around, picking up and dropping off other people as you go. It is a, one-on-one. They pick you up, take you. Now, if you want to travel with friends, you're they have to start where you start and end where your trip ends, but you can take your friends and family members with you. Basically, the county is paying for the vehicle. So when you pay your $6, it covers you and two, three, or four other people. Just we ask that when you make the reservations and you're going to have other people traveling with you, that you let the vendor know how many people total. That way, they make sure they send a vehicle that is big enough. Now, this service is not there. Is a little different. You're not going to see marked vehicles with logos on the sides of them. You'll see signs in windows, for example, Ride Round Trip. They use Lyft and Uber for their service, but they also provide wheelchair service. They have companies that they're contracted with for that. Um, Same with User. They don't use Lyft and Uber, but they use their own drivers. But the drivers are driving their personal vehicles. So when you schedule a ride, they will text you um, the color of the vehicle, the license plate of the vehicle, the driver's name. So when if somebody's supposed to pick you up in a silver Corolla, and then you see a silver Corolla pull up outside, you can go out and ask, "Hey, are you here for me?" And they should be able to answer that. Ask them, "Hey, who are you here to pick up?" And they'll tell you. Um, but anyway, they will send a text message letting you know who, what type of vehicle, and all that. Um, on Userve also, if they can't send one of their drivers, there is a chance that they can send a Lyft driver. But again, they will text you and let you know what the vehicle looks like, all of that. Um, Next slide, please. Ride Round Trip and Userve both, like I said, provide ambulatory and wheelchair transport. Again, if you use a wheelchair, you just let them know when you make the reservation. Like I said, when we ask that information on the registration form, so we can share that with the vendor, and that way, again, they know kind of in advance when you call and they pull your file up, it'll come up and let them know, hey, this person needs a wheelchair transport. Um, Now, there are cases where a person is able to transfer out of their wheelchair, and the chair can be folded up and put in the trunk. That's fine. You can do that if you want to, but the cost is the same either way. It's up to the individual. But generally, if you are in a wheelchair, you would request a wheelchair transport. Um, Next slide, please. To contact us, you can go to the county website, chesterfield.gov/mobility services, or call us at 804-706-2796. Or you can also scan that QR code right there, and it will take you to the website. Interesting thing, when you're using your smartphone to scan the QR code, you can also access the registration form that way. Um, as you're going through the registration form, when it cues you to upload your supporting documentation, if you're doing it on a smartphone, it will actually ask you to take a picture of your supporting documentation at that time. And when you snap the picture, it'll upload it automatically. Um, just kind of a little neat thing there. But anyway, you can access that information through that QR code or the website. And again, if you're not able to do that, give us a call and we can mail you the registration form. And when you're registered, you receive in the mail a membership card with your ID number on it. When you call the vendors, they're going to ask for that ID number. So you have to have that card before you can make reservations. And the way it usually works, even if you do the registration online, um, once we receive it, process it, get it into the system, create the card, mail it out to you. By the time it gets to you in the mail, say you've registered today, we get it in the mail today. By the time you get it in 2 to 3 days, uh, once you get the card in the mail, at that point, all you got to do is call. It does take the vendors sometimes a day or two to get their systems updated after when we send them the information. So by the time you do receive the card in the mail, you're good to go. They've already chances are they've definitely already updated. Usually 24 to 48 hours. Like I said, 2 to 3 days. By the time you get the card, you're all set. Um, any questions?
Thank you, Frank. That was very, very informative. I see we have a couple of viewers on the live stream. If anyone has questions, go ahead and post those as a comment in the Facebook Live or YouTube Live. As you're talking, Frank, I actually had a few questions. So
Sure.
Sportable primarily serves people who have physical disabilities or wheelchair impairment, or sorry, physical disabilities or visual impairment. So that includes wheelchair users, people use canes and walkers, things like that. So most of the people that we serve would probably be accessing the service through qualifying as someone with a disability. What are
Okay.
some of the supporting documentation y'all
Well, I'll give you an example. It's when for disability, that's covers actually a quite a large swath of the population because it's not just physical disabilities.
Okay.
Like we also work with our own county mental health department to help their consumers get back and forth to their appointments and stuff like that, get to jobs. All you need is as simple as a doctor's note.
Okay.
With the mental health department, they use a code that they use in their system, their profiler system, that identifies the individual without having to give a name and all of that. Anyway, they provide that number, and we put that into the system that they have this profiler number, and that's their proof that they're disabled. Again, as simple as a doctor's note. I don't know how many times we get how doctors' signatures are, a copy of a scrawled note with the doctor's name and everything on it, and says, yes, this person's is disabled. That's all it takes. We don't need any details. Or there are some programs out there like this that you gotta you go through weeks of checks and even going through as far as going through physicals. We don't go through any of that. Again, something as simple as a doctor's note, a copy of a Medicare card, copy of a Medicaid card. Again, just something that says yes, this person's disabled. That's all we require. And
Excellent.
again, no personal details really needed other than just that information.
Excellent. That's great that it's just such a easy process, it sounds like.
Yeah.
From the time y'all receive the application to when you approve it, how long is that timeline typically? What can people
Okay,
expect?
well, it depends on how you register. Like I said, if you do it online, it comes to once you hit submit, it pops up in a couple of minutes on our screen. We get it into the system, create the card, get it in the mail. Like I said, in 2 to 3 days, you receive the card in the mail along with a writer's guide, a little booklet that basically covers all the stuff that I've just covered here. Tells you, where you can go, what you can do, all of that. Um, who to call, all that. And anyway, that you get a copy of that. Um, if you do it through the mail, it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, depending back and forth in the mail. Um, but again, generally the turnaround is if it comes in the mail today, we try to get it out in the mail today. Uh, Currently, they pick our mail up here at the county twice a day. So if something comes in the morning, we can get it in the mail and get it out in the afternoon. Usually deliver mail about 9:30, and pick up between 1 and 1:30. We try to make sure that we get stuff out in that time frame. If not, it'll go out the next day. But still, you're looking at 2 to 3 days usually. Again, it's fast as we can. Now, if you really press for time and want to come into our office, we're at 9800 Government Center Parkway. If you got the documentation, bring it with you. We have you fill out the form, um, and they have a conference room where we'll let you sit down and fill out the form. We'll make copies of your documentation and get it in the system. Make your card and hand it to you. It usually takes like 10 to 15 minutes, if that. Um, that's the fastest way. Um, Most convenient way is online because you don't have to go anywhere. And again, through the mail, that's the way we've done it for years. And again, the online registration part is actually something kind of new to us. They literally within the past about 2 months now that we've been doing it online. They're doing them online, and we're already have over 200 registrations that way. And again, that's just in a 2 month time frame. So it has been very well accepted by the public. Again, but there are, we know there are folks out there that can't, so we still have the paper form. We can mail that out. We're happy to do that. Um, and again, basically the information is the exact same. Um, for either format. Is just, again, the online is a little bit faster and a little less stressful as far as trying to waiting for a week or so for something to come back in the mail, or having to figure out, okay, how am I going to get into the office to do this. If you can do it online, like I said, even with a smartphone, it's simple as we can make it right now. And that's what I would recommend anyway, is to go that route if you have the capability. If not, if especially for somebody that might be older that's not really comfortable with a computer, ask your grandkids. You'd be surprised how often we get. Can my grandson do this for me? Yeah. In fact, I just talked to somebody today. Yeah, can I have my grandson do that? Yes, by all means. Whatever it takes to get it done. Uh, if you're not comfortable with that, well, get help. And if you're not able to do it, find somebody, give us a call. We can talk you through it. I've done that a few times.
Oh,
But again, we will help any way we can, and that's what we do.
that's wonderful. One, it's so great y'all have the online form now, and I'm really impressed at just how quick you're able to turn around from the time you have that form filled out, whether it's in person, the paper form, mailed paper form, like the fact that it's same day you get that card in the mail as often as you're able. That's
Yes.
really impressive, because I know the disabled community, the elderly community sometimes has to wait a while for things to go through.
Yes.
So I love the commitment y'all have to making this process as smooth as possible and as efficient and fast as
Well,
possible.
we've been doing this for 18 years now, and you'd be surprised how many people still don't know about what we do.
Wow. I personally didn't know about it, and we have a number of athletes that live in Chesterfield and could be benefiting from this service. So this is great. Another question is, how far in advance do individuals who have their rider card have to book the rides? How
Okay,
common is
the short answer is 2 hours.
this? Okay.
Okay. Um, the best answer, if you know you need a ride next week, schedule it today. You got a better chance of making sure that somebody picks it up, because the way the service works is, when the you call them or make your reservation, it goes out. The drivers choose what they want, who they want to take, and whatnot. But again, you can do same day, minimum 2 hour notice. Uh, the exception to that rule is the wheelchair passengers. If you have somebody that's in a wheelchair, it's best to give them at least a 24-hour notice. I would say a 48-hour would be better, but at least a 24-hour notice. Again, that way, because they are subcontracting with these different service providers. So it helps them make sure that they get somebody lined up to take the trip. Uh, both providers are working towards being able to provide the same level of service to wheelchair passengers. Just that right now, advanced reservations is the only way to go, unfortunately.
Got it. I'm guessing that's due to the specialized vehicles needed sometimes for wheelchair users. Is
Yes.
that the? Okay. So if an individual was a wheelchair user but can transfer out of the chair and then, like you mentioned, fold up that chair, it can go in the trunk or another seat of the car, that
Yes.
24 hours may not be needed because they wouldn't need
Right. If you have that capability, but you just need to make sure that you let them know when you make the reservation that the wheelchair is foldable, and then they can schedule accordingly. But if and it depends on, and this is unfortunate, but we had an incident recently. Person had a folding wheelchair, but it didn't fold in the normal sense, and they required at least in like an SUV or a large van to put it in the back end. And unfortunately, when the vehicle that came to get them wasn't able to do that. It was a
Mhm.
sedan, and that created a problem. So you need to know, make sure you exactly what kind of chair you have and how small it can fold. And but generally, I tell people, if you're in a wheelchair, please request a wheelchair vehicle. Again, yes, you might have to make that reservation 24 hours in advance, but again, there's no, if it's a larger chair, there's no guarantee that the vehicle that comes to get you, even if you can transfer out of it, that your chair will fit. So again, that's my advice. If I was in a wheelchair, even if I could transfer out of it, that's exactly the way I would do it, because that way I know I'm going to get picked up and my chair is going with me.
That makes sense. Um, I'm going to share an example with this next question, but a lot of Sportables programs run on a weekly basis for a certain period of time. So we have archery that we do with Chesterfield County Parks and Rec, actually, and that meets over at Rockwood Park. So if somebody who has signed up for this program, has their rider card, wanted to book a ride every Wednesday at 4 o'clock to go to archery and then to be picked up from archery later, is it possible to book recurring rides for a certain
Yes,
period of time like that?
yes, you can. Um, you call and you say, hey, can I, when you make the reservation, just, hey, can I make this reoccurring every Thursday at 4 o'clock? I need this ride, and they can do it, because we have people that do that for their employment trips,
Hmm.
when they're going to work, so they don't have to call every week to schedule their trips. They can call in, set it up one time, or even we have some folks that go to um, familiar with a group called Diversity.
No.
It's kind of adult daycare
Okay.
for folks with intellectual disabilities, and we have passengers that go to that almost every day, and that's how they get back and forth. They set it up as recurring, and they don't have to worry about it. And but again, that's just one example. But yeah, they're able. That is not a problem. We are able to do that. Both vendors can do that.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I think that is all of the questions. Frank, I want to thank you again for your time today and for sharing this
No problem.
excellent resource that's available for Chesterfield County residents to access low-cost transportation within the county and even beyond the county if it's for employment or medical appointments, like you said. So
Yes.
just a great resource. Awesome to hear it's been around for 18 years. I truly didn't know that, and I'm glad that we can help share this information, hopefully help connect more people with this mobility program. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for anyone who has watched either live or the recording. And let us know if you have any questions. You see the Mobility Services webpage on the slide right there, as well as their phone number. And I'm sure Frank or anyone on his team would be happy to take your call and help answer any questions.
In fact, if you go to the website, it'll have all of our emails listed. There's 3 of us in the section. You can email us directly. Mine, I can tell you that right now, vancef@chesterfield.gov. It'll come directly to me. Happy to answer any questions. We can even email you the registration form or a link to the website if you need that. Yeah, feel free to contact us. That's what we're here for.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.